Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, sponsored by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everyone. Joined in the studio by Bugling Bob himself. Bob, first things first, as always, man. It's good to see you.
Every year.
Every time I get to see you, it is a great time of year. We're in the middle to the latter part of August and walking into bow season. If you haven't seen him here on Outdoor GPS, you've probably seen him over at Archers Field where he works. You walk right in, there he is. And he's the one that's building the bows and putting everything together, along with a very good crew.
Yeah.
Of guys that are building bows for you, all the arrows and bows that you're going to need. But always been a great source for us on helping everyone kind of come up with a good plan, because we all wait until the last minute. It's called human nature. Okay, it is what it is. So we always need some sort of reminders. One, got to be safe out there. That's a given. We'll get to that. But yourself, your season starts immediately.
It does.
Where are you at in your preparation as far as getting ready to get into the woods?
Personally, so we start shooting the Bowhunter League at Archers Field in January. 13 straight weeks of Bowhunter League. And then from April until now is every Thursday at Broadhead night.
Right.
We're shooting our broadheads.
Okay.
And so I've been ready since April, counting it down.
I love it.
So, and that's just putting in, 1 day a week with broadheads.
Sure.
So if a guy, needs to come down and shoot his broadheads, we have broadhead targets they can come in and shoot, and we can check them and make sure everything's flying good and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I've been ready for, months, and I only get to hunt a few days this year because I'm guiding full-time this year up in Montana.
Okay.
So I'll hunt the first weekend and maybe Monday, Tuesday before I head up.
Gotcha. So now let's go back to broadheads real quick. The vast majority, and I'm going to say this because I'm guilty as anybody, are shooting field point, and then the week before you decide that you're heading out to camp. If it's before the season starts, you're opening weekend guy, or if you're a week or two into the season before you get to go, which is typically what happens for myself, then you put the broadheads on and go, what in the world? Why am I 6 inches off on every single shot? Well, most likely, well, I'll ask the professional. When that does happen, and they're shooting those field points, just darts, right, and they put those broadheads on, what is usually the problem when they're not hitting where they're trying to hit?
So usually it's an out-of-tune bow, which is all stuff we talk about every year, just making sure your bow is tuned up, cam timing, knock height, center shot, all that. And then the shooter has to have good form. I can tune a bow, and we can tune a shooter as well. So the shooter has to have good form, and your bow needs to be, shooting the way it's supposed to. And then they should fly the same. This combination of this broadhead and this arrow, it's the same. It's like shooting a field point.
Right.
And so we do a rubber 3D animal league with broadheads in the summer for 10 weeks, and our scores would be the same with field points.
Right.
And we're shooting broadheads. So.
Well, and you switched me a couple of years ago from the Exodus, which is a really, really
Great
good broadhead.
Really good broadhead.
But it is not nearly as dart-ish, maybe not the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But this is what again? The
That's
Reaper?
a Grim Reaper Micro Hades. Yeah.
So I've been shooting 125 on my current bow. Previous bow was 100 grain, and they shot darts. As long as I did my job, which isn't always going to happen. Okay, I'm human. It is what it is. On deer, lethal. Okay, you've taken plenty of elk with that broadhead.
Yeah, that broadhead does the job. It's all about shot placement. Any broadhead's going to do the job. And that being said, I like close range shooting.
Sure.
I really, I'm a stickler for 40 yards and under. It's usually top pin.
Absolutely.
And so I've been kind of talking about that quite a bit lately. There's a lot of people promoting the longer range shooting, which I'm not a big advocate of.
I agree.
I feel like there's too much to go wrong. I'm very simple. I shoot a 3-pin fixed sight, and I rarely use that 40-yard pin.
Right.
And so I like to keep your shots close, check your broadheads, make sure everything's flying good, and you should be good to go. And then don't panic when a 6-point walks out.
Or don't hold the bow back for over a minute and expect to shoot where you want to shoot.
Yeah, now that's something we practice.
I know.
Practice that. We hold back for 2 minutes, and then we try to shoot a grouse at 20 yards.
That's insane, dude.
2 minutes, you start to shake, and then a grouse-sized target and trying to hit your thumbnail, you got to pull it together.
Yeah.
And just touch it off when you're ready. But it's a good thing to practice. It's something we do, yeah.
Kenny, I'm sorry. My good friend who called that bowling for me a couple of years ago, and I blew it.
Yeah,
but it's my fault. I drew too soon. Okay, all those things come down to it.
Yeah, that's what
and that's all experience, and what do I know?
Yeah.
All right, so at Archers, this is a very busy time of year for you guys for exactly what I've been kind of joking about, everybody waiting until the last minute. So when folks are coming in, what's the one thing that you see to be most consistent the second week of August to the kickoff of September for that bow season, what's the one thing that you can be pretty confident that when somebody comes walking through the door, this is what they're going to be asking about?
Usually arrows.
Is it arrows?
They're needing more arrows.
Okay.
And broadheads, because they haven't shot broadheads all year.
Right.
And that's just a common thing. It's, not everybody has, tons of time to shoot their bow. If you're really into it, you should shoot as much as you can. And that's really, there's no substitute for shooting your bow.
Right.
But arrows is the biggest thing right now. Guys are coming in. And one thing about arrows is your arrows need to all be the same.
Right.
Guys walk in with a handful of arrows. Hey, I need these refletched. And they've got, 3 different kinds of vanes, different lengths, different weight field points. How is that going to be consistent?
It's not.
So, and now other guys are super picky, and their arrows are numbered, and everything's exactly precise. I don't number my arrows. They're all exactly the same.
Right. You're making sure that your whole quiver is full of the exact same arrow.
It's the exact same arrow. I can grab any one of them. They're exactly the same. So.
Right. And if you're numbering them, I'm not going to,
That's fine,
he's
too.
the expert. You can number them for sure.
Yeah.
But if you're saying number 1 shoots better than number 4, what are you going to do if you just ricocheted your first shot and you get lucky enough to grab another arrow?
Good point.
Are you then going to go, okay, this one doesn't quite shoot as good as the no. Do what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about this upcoming segment. Something as simple as a roller for your
spin your arrows out.
arrows. We're going to get to that. But yeah, I mean, so it's all a mindset, right?
Yeah.
You need to make sure your arrows are dialed all the way across. Every single bow that and you know me, I've gone through a lot of bows because I think a lot of us do that.
Yeah.
Probably for not good reasons, and probably really shouldn't do that. Staying consistent year after year is probably more important. But having enough arrows, I always get 2 dozen arrows, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm expecting to have 6 bad arrows. I just want to make sure that when my quiver's full, that all 5 arrows on there are exactly the same. No numbers, no nothing
Super
else.
important.
Broadheads, like you had mentioned, you shoot them once a week throughout the year, basically. For folks, and this is the question that comes up often, and I think it might be the social media thing.
Yeah.
We've all seen social media, which is a disaster in my own personal opinion.
Agree 100%.
Have an effect on bow hunting, on duck hunting, on all kinds of different things that are out there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of folks that take the perspective, well, all right, I can shoot further if I don't shoot that often, or if I got the best bow in the world, most expensive bow, most expensive setup, I haven't practiced, but I should be able to go out and shoot a 50-yard shot on a bull elk.
Oof. Nah,
You see this stuff.
I see it every day.
When somebody comes into the shop, and I know it happens, and they come in and they're like, yeah, I shoot that one at 55 yards. I mean, is there any advice to share with others that are there when that happens? Or is it just, whatever, not say anything?
I asked the guys, I go, is my tongue bleeding? And they say, why? And I go, well,
I've been
biting it for the last hour listening to this guy over here.
Right.
I talk to a lot of bow hunters, and I hear, I wounded with this one, I missed that one, I deflected at this one, and it's always long shots.
Yeah.
Always long shots. And so I'm not going to tell anybody what the ethical distance is, but I know the ones after guiding for 29 years, my hunters it's never 40 yards. It's always top pin.
Right.
I hunt in the timber and I'm calling them in. So I'm not hunting some wide open, desert mule deer or something.
Sure.
And we're not ranging the animal. We range some trees in a setup, but when that elk finally walks in, it's going to be close.
Right.
So I just promote, try to keep it close, practice as much as possible, and just shoot your bow.
Yeah.
Like once we tune it, just shoot your bow. I say it 10 times a day. There's no substitute for just simply shooting your bow. Once we tune it, it's good. I haven't tuned this bow in 2.5 years. I've had this bow for 2.5 years. Every couple months, I'll walk over to the paper, punch a few bullet holes. My broadheads fly sweet. Cam timing stay there. I haven't changed a single thing.
Does that fall down to, because all these bows, there's so many of them now, and they vary from $800 for that matter. You can buy one for $800 at a box store with quiver and everything else set up, and then you can go up to $2,500 with nothing on it, right?
Yeah.
Does that actually have an advantage? Do you really get an advantage as opposed to say, the $1,100 bow to the $2,500 bow? Is there a huge difference in those when you're shooting them in practicality?
Not really. I mean, I could take the cheapest bow in the shop, the cheapest arrow in the shop, and still kill just as many elk as the guy that spends $3,000.
Sure.
It's shot placement and keeping your shots close and shooting your bow. The more money you spend does not equate more bullseyes. It really doesn't. Now, that being said, a nicer bow feels a little nicer.
Sure.
They just feel nicer. They're a little more solid, a little more consistent.
Yeah.
A Ford Ranger is going to drive me to elk camp. Right?
Yeah.
But if I jump on an F-350,
You're going to get there a lot
with
nicer.
with the big screen in it and leather heated seats. That's a little nicer, right? They both do the job.
Right.
So budget, the more money you spend does not equate to more animals or more bull shots. That's all I'm saying.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that. That question comes up all the time. It falls down to what you want and how much time and effort are you going to put in to be best at yourself, right? You can blame the bow. I'm the first person to do that. Bob, it's out of tune, man. And then you show up at Archers and he gets you into the... listen, you need to really kind of get that anchor right because you're wrong. And then all of a sudden, it's not the bow.
No.
It's me doing the... jerking on the trigger. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. It's practice.
It is.
Okay, so when we come back from this break, I want to talk about, we're going to utilize our Tech Tip segment to talk about one of the basics of your arrows, right, to make sure of, and we're going to talk about why do you even go out there? What are the reasons why you're even in the field? This year, we just about lost, or they tried to take away fishing and hunting and ranching and everything else from us. Why is it we love it so much? We'll have that when we come back from this break.
Outdoor GPS is sponsored by McMinnville Jeep Ram in the heart of Yamhill County, your home for Ram trucks. Experience the clear difference. Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, sponsored by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now it's time for your weekend tech tip, brought to you by McMinnville Jeep Ram.
Welcome back, everyone. Joined in the studio by Mr. Bugling Bob. You can find him over at Archers Afield right now. But in a week,
oh, I'll be up in the woods.
You're gone.
Yeah,
I get it.
For the rest of the season. So.
Great folks over there to help you out with getting your boats. I mean, there's very few places around here that can tune a bow, have the arrows, have the bows that you might want to have. They sell used bows there that you can go pick up. I mean, there's so many different things that Archers does that nobody else does, and they got a great crew there to hook you up. But this is one that we talked about in the previous segment, something that you can do to make sure that your arrows are good to go. Right? So let's talk about the spinner. This is nothing new.
No, this is nothing new. It's just an arrow spinner. And a guy will come in with a long bladed broadhead and maybe not so straight of an arrow. We'll put it on the spinner and it wiggles like this. And then we're like, well, that's not going to fly very good, especially with the broadhead on the front end.
Right.
So I want to show you the way my arrow spins. Straightness tolerance is 0.001. It's the straightest arrow you can buy. Not even that expensive. And I shoot a nice broadhead here. And look at that. While it's spinning, it doesn't even look like, it's not even moving.
No.
That is a perfectly straight broadhead that's going to fly just like my field points.
Okay, so I got to ask this question because it's going to come up. Somebody's out there who's going to think about it. When you're talking about blade alignment to fletches, where's your thought on that?
It makes zero difference.
Thank you.
0.0 difference.
Okay.
I screw my broadheads on, I shoot they go exactly where your field points are. And I shoot with a big group of guys year round. We started broadheads in April. There's a whole bunch of guys shooting the same broadhead, and we just tune our bows, and nobody has any problem. Just zero issues all through all summer. Broadhead league up at the range, no problems whatsoever. The guys that start tinkering around, playing with different things, once you get a setup that's working good for you, stay with it.
Yeah, leave it alone.
Just stay with your setup that's working. Like we were talking about releases. Now's not the right time to change your release.
That was one of the questions I was going to ask, and we got from one of our viewers about swapping to a different style of release, like right now.
This is the wrong time of year to do that. So if you're going to do that, do it in February or March, and get used to whatever you're going to shoot. The more you get used to your gear and the more you shoot, everything's just second nature. Everything's second nature. You're not worried about anything. If you've been shooting your bow. Now, if you haven't been shooting your bow, just come down to the shop. And a lot of times a paper tune will take less than 5 minutes. A guy will come in, hey, I'm not sure what's going on. I'll look at the bow, we'll check it out. We don't even charge you half the time. If it's fighting me, we got to change the cam timing and the rest timing and the knock height and the center shot, a full paper tune. I might need the bow for a day or two at the most. But definitely come in and have it checked out, because if you're shooting a well-tuned bow with a straight arrow and a good broadhead, you're not going to have any issues. And once you find that solution that works for you, don't change it.
So at that point, if you're still struggling or having an issue, that's on you, bro. And you better be shooting a lot. And you guys have indoor ranges, like 5 of them, right? I mean, the places there that you can shoot, very, very safe, very, very clean, very, very nice facility. If you've not been there,
yeah, it's great.
They've got the spots that you can shoot and ask do they need to make it? Is it a good idea to make an appointment with you?
No, they
just walk through the door.
Just pop in.
Okay.
Doesn't matter how busy we are. You might have to wait a few minutes this time of year, but we'll get to you.
And it is busy this time of year.
It is busy. It's the busiest time of year for us. And we're fletching a lot of arrows. We're selling a lot of bows. Guys buying bows right now for hunting in 2 weeks.
Right.
Don't recommend that so much, but if you need a new bow, come see us.
Yeah, well, I mean...
at that point. But now here's one thing. Thursday night is the last Broadhead night of the year. This coming Thursday.
Right.
So it goes from 6 to 7:30. We shoot some animal targets with field points. Well, the shop closes at 6:30. So for an hour, we shoot broadheads. And I'm the only one there. I can kind of do whatever I want. We go back to the front door and shoot 40-yard indoor broadheads. And we got one left. So if you want to come in and check it out, we can shoot your broadheads. If you're having an issue, I can help you fix it.
Right.
And then it's go time. So.
And it's a very controlled environment.
Yeah.
Meaning that you're not dealing with wind, updrafts, any of that kind of stuff that at range can have an effect on how your arrow flies. So you have a ground zero to work with if there's something going on, right?
Right. And then, we do that at the shop, but then we go up to Sylvan and shoot the longer shots, and it's the same thing. No problems whatsoever.
So, all right, I wanted to touch on this. Actually, you wanted to touch on this. There's a reason why we all like to go out, and this is the year that, for a lot of us, it really was kind of spooky. I mean, we all knew in the end that a bunch of crazy... okay, I gotta shut up. Sorry, Ryan, I don't want to get either one of us launched. There was some really interesting things going on where they tried to pull fishing and hunting opportunities from us. There's a reason why this is our heritage here. This is the reason why in our United States, this country, hunting and fishing is ingrained into us. What's the reasons why folks sometimes forget about this?
I think it's, for a lot of times, it feels like it's for clicks and likes.
Okay, going back to what we were talking about earlier. Okay,
Social media. Yeah. And everybody's a bow tech all of a sudden. They're bow technicians or expert callers or whatever, they're trying to promote themselves.
Sure.
Where, for me, growing up with 3 brothers and growing up, my dad was a fishing guide and he got us into bow hunting at a really young age. Those are the best times of my life. The anticipation, the excitement of being in the woods and hearing an elk or seeing a deer or whatever it may be, hanging out with my dad and my brothers.
Yeah.
And that's lasted our whole lives. My dad's not with us anymore and we miss him. So what I'm trying to get across to people is I encourage you to revisit why you're really out there. You only get so many seasons in your life, and just try to enjoy it. Slow down. My patience has gone way high compared to when I was younger, just running around like crazy. Now I just slide around the woods. I prowl around. I'm very in tune with the woods. But I don't remember, this bull or that bull, but I remember the dudes that I hung out with and what we experienced together. So I just kind of encourage people to, not take it so serious. It's not life or death. I mean, it's bow hunting. It's supposed to be fun.
Right.
Archery is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to be frustrating. I mean, things happen, of course, but get out there, enjoy the woods, respect the land. I mean, respect the animals. Don't be shooting 70, 80-yard shots, in my opinion.
Right.
I get a lot of blowback on that, but I'm very set in my ways.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Why? How could you get blowback on that?
Well, because there's enough videos out there of guys shooting their elk at 80, 90 yards that, influencers. I'm not trying to be an influencer. I try to help
understand
people.
that, but that's ridiculous. If somebody ever said, if you were to say in a crowd of people, don't shoot at a bull elk, a deer, or whatever, right? I mean, if you're trying to take out an animal that is an invasive species, like a wild boar, we're talking something completely different here. But when you're talking an elk or a deer or something along those lines, respecting the game, like you just mentioned, you don't need those shots outside of 40 yards. You're not doing yourself any favors. And like you said, for clicks, you're not doing anything good.
Clicks, likes, pictures, all that stuff. I don't really post too many dead animal pictures.
Right,
they're prettier on the hoof.
Yeah.
They're a lot prettier on the hoof. We always say that.
Sure.
So, I've been fortunate enough to guide for as long as I have, and I've taken families and dads and kids and daughters and helped people get their first animal, and that's just awesome to, experience that with somebody for the first time. And so, my whole thing is I just want to help people. I'm not in it for, clicks and likes or anything like that. I just want to help people call better, hunt smarter, stay safe, always, but just enjoy your time because it's quick.
Yeah, it is quick. I'm in my mid 40. Jeez, I don't even want to admit it. I mean, it goes by so freaking fast, man.
At the end of this hunting season, I'll be 59.
Okay.
And I've guided almost half my life.
Wow, I mean, it's definitely a lot of time in the woods, and obviously you have to take the time to do it to have the experience that you have. Just to remember, like what he said, enjoy yourself. Go out, enjoy your friends and family, make some memories. That's what we do it for, obviously, because I'm not taking elk home. Maybe a deer every so often. Okay, so it's 2 weeks out to the season.
Yeah.
If you have questions, if you have issues, if you haven't been shooting and you want to go someplace where you can be in a good environment and in a spot where you can get some help if something is wrong, go over to Archers. You got great chances to shoot there, all the gear that you need to have. You mentioned this isn't the best time to buy a bow, but it also is a great time to buy a bow. If you already know that you have an issue and you might need to make that change, it's better to get it over with now, especially if you've got a little bit of time before you actually get into the woods, like myself. Typically, I don't get to leave until the last 2 weeks of the season, so I'd have a month until I'd be hitting the woods. So everybody's a little bit different. But if you have questions, just look him up. Just ask for Bob when you call him up, and he can give you some insight. Even if you're not local to where we happen to be standing, he can answer a lot of questions for you.
I can.
If you have them. Parting shot. We're down to the last minute.
Okay.
What's the last thing that we can let people know about before they head out to the woods? One last bit of advice.
Okay, last bit of advice. I always say when I'm in a new area, you don't know until you go. That's my saying. That's how you don't know until you go. If you're hunting out east, I would say know before you go, as far as the restrictions and regulations
and what the woods
fire
look like.
situation and all that stuff. So I would say, you know, if you're going to take a trip like that across the state, make sure you know what's going on in your area before you head out. Last thing I'll say is when you're out there, be patient. I like to use my ears more than my eyes. Go out and sit on a ridge top where you can hear long ways. Sit down, be patient, let the elk make the first move.
Right.
That's been working for me for the last few years.
Well, that's great advice, and hopefully you can utilize that when you get out there. For all of you that might not be able to catch next week's show, we're going to talk a little bit more elk hunting as well. But have a good trip when you get out and be safe, number one. But first things first, good luck to you.
Thanks.
You're heading out here the next handful of days to get your camp set up and getting started.
I'll be out counting rubs tomorrow.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thanks.
Hopefully things go successful for you, and when you're guiding over in Montana,
I'll keep you posted.
Just think of me and go, yep, he's not seen anything like this.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures.
I can only imagine. We'll be right back. We're going to have a live report from the folks from Watts Heating and Cooling.
Outdoor GPS is sponsored by Yakima Bait, steeped in tradition, innovation, and fishing success. And by Procure Bait Sense, ruthlessly effective.